Today's notes are on mutations. There are two types of mutations that we will talk about, and the first is gene mutations. Remember that a gene is a portion of a chromosome or of the DNA that codes for a specific protein. So a gene mutation is any change in the sequence of DNA, and it results in a change in mRNA, which can cause the protein to be damaged or to take a different shape, which means that it cannot do the job that it's supposed to do. Mutations are only passed on to the next generation if they occur in the sex cells or gametes. So if the mutation occurs in an egg or sperm cell, that can be passed on to the child, but if it's anywhere else in the body, it is not going to be inherited. Causes of gene mutations, it can be random, so just an accidental mistake during transcription or during replication. It can be inherited, like I just mentioned. If it occurs in the gametes, it could be passed on to the offspring. Or it could be caused by environmental factors, so things such as radiation or certain types of chemical exposure can cause mutations in the DNA. So for example, skin cancer usually results from mutations that occur due to UV radiation that comes from the sun if you aren't careful and don't wear sunscreen. So our first type of gene mutation is a point mutation, which means we have a change in one nitrogen base, so at one point in the gene. And this will only impact one amino acid. So you can see here, we have a single base change. A is being changed into C, so this would be like a mistake in transcription. And because of that, instead of histidine, we get proline, which will most likely give us a different shape in the amino acid, and that protein may not work at all. Our second type of gene mutation is a frame shift mutation. So this is when we get an addition or a deletion of one base, so base is added or removed, and it interferes with the amino acids created for the entire chromosome or for that entire gene or mRNA transcript. So you see here, we get a whole shift in every codon. So instead of starting at C, we're going to start with ATT, and every amino acid after that change is going to be different. So this protein definitely is not going to be functioning. Our second type or category of mutations is a chromosome mutation. So this type of mutation is going to have a much larger impact on the organism because we're getting a change in many genes. Our first type is a deletion. So just like the name implies, we are losing a piece of that chromosome. Here the letters are representing different sections of the chromosome, and this little dot in the center would be where the centromere would be. And so we get a break, and section A is going to be lost. So that portion of the chromosome is deleted. Our second type is a duplication. As the name implies, we are doubling a portion of the chromosome. So you can see this little yellow section here. We end up with a copy of that. So we get extra genes. An inversion means that part of the chromosome is flipped over and reinserted. So you can see here, instead of being in alphabetical order as represented in this diagram, this DEF section gets flipped around. And then our last type is a translocation. And translocation means that a portion of one chromosome is broken off and is added to another chromosome. Or there's also the possibility, as shown in this picture, that two chromosomes are exchanging DNA. And again, the number refers to the type of chromosome, which you'll be a little more comfortable with once we do karyotyping. So make sure you write your summary, and a at least one question that you have about mutations and then come check in with me.